Hello, everybody that loves real estate, everybody that's in real estate, and everybody that wants to understand real estate a little bit more. This is Marti Hampton here with you, and I have got Devon Broughton, my partner. Devon's been in the business, I know it's hard to believe, but she's been in the business almost 20 years.
Yep.
You started when you were 1?
Yes, I did. That's exactly right.
And I've been in the business for 35 years. And that's about 55 years worth of real estate experience. And so we've got a lot to say about iBuyers. But this is not a bashing session, even though it could be. No, it really is just understanding. I think there's a lot of people that don't understand this new iBuyer model that's really come upon us. Probably about 2018 is when it started. And there's no judgment here. There's really not. They're big shots in the industry. They work with Wall Street. They're a lot different from a traditional real estate company such as we have. But you know what? I've always believed that a big shot's just a little shot that kept on shooting. So everybody's got a right to do business in our wonderful America, or capitalist. I'm a big capitalist. But I do want people to understand the difference. I think there's some misunderstanding out there. What do you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody deserves to be informed. And that's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing.
And you have the information, you can make a better choice.
It's true. And I think one of the things that's happening, let's just talk about, what is an iBuyer and who are they?
Right.
And the truth is that iBuyers are investors, and they have been around for a very long time. The kind of iBuyer that we're probably focusing on today is the ones that advertise every 15 minutes, that are online. When you're skimming through, you'll see them every 10 minutes or so. They're just loud. We just went through a political season.
Yes, we did.
Did you hear a lot of political ads?
I did.
I can really remember the people they were telling me not to vote for.
Right. Yes, they're telling me to go out there and vote for them, but not the others.
They mentioned that. So iBuyers are the ones that, are louder. And what I want you to understand is an iBuyer is an investor, and there is lots of investors out there in addition to the loud iBuyers that you're hearing on radio, that you're seeing online. There's just plenty of large institutional investors, locally, regionally, nationally, and then there's those iBuyers that we're talking about right now that are big tech. They're tied in with big tech, and they went out and they got money. And they got that money from Wall Street. They got together a group of investors and they started an IPO, and that's a lot different than a traditional business model. But why did they do that? One of the reasons they did that, Devon, is because they could actually buy top of mind.
Right. Well, they saw an opportunity in America. And they have taken what we call the American dream, something that's very private to each one of us as homeowners, and they are capitalizing on it as big money investors.
Big money investors, that's exactly right. The ones that I'm speaking about, them. Open Door is out there. That's in the iBuyer arena. Zillow was buying homes in the iBuyer arena up to 1 year, last year, and then they got out of the business because they did it so poorly. Just saying. And then Redfin they just got out of the business just within the last couple of weeks. So basically, it's different. It's different than the other, but there's other iBuyers. And what I really want to get through to you, if you're looking at this particular segment, is that iBuyers are investors and they want to buy your house, but there's lots of them. There's many more than the ones that you're hearing about. So then the next thing I'd probably ask is the advertisements that we're hearing about iBuyers, are they true? Are they deceptive? Are they misleading? What's your thoughts?
Well, I think they're catching your attention for sure, and they are catching it in such a way that people are responding and calling. Mm-hmm. Because the truth is, they want to be the first one in your house. If they can beat out the competition, they've done their job.
That's true.
They don't want to compete with any other buyer on the market. They want to be first in the house, and that's what all their advertisement and marketing is driven to do, is to get you to call them first.
You know, there's one advertisement out there, you may or may not have heard of it, but the advertisement said, "And we give you the best cash offer in the industry." How could that possibly be when they haven't contacted all the people that would give you a cash offer in the industry? So how could that possibly be true? I've got a little bit of a problem with that because you can't say you're giving the best cash offer in the industry unless you contacted everyone, every iBuyer, every investment buyer, and that's what we do for many of our clients. Another deceptive thing I think they do is they use national numbers to create local clout.
Right. Well, we have a saying in this in real estate. Real estate is a local market. Even in the Triangle, you can have micro markets that are local. Apex is not like Wendell.
That's exactly right. That's right. Another advertisement I recently heard is your home sold at 100% of asking price, or you will receive the difference, guaranteed. Oh, let me dissect that sentence. Come on. Well, who determines the asking price?
The buyer.
The buyer determines the asking price. So yeah, if you agree to sell your house for whatever price that iBuyer gives you, yeah, they're going to guarantee that they're going to give you that price. What they don't do, and what I do when I do an instant offer, by the way, we do that instant offer within 19 days, is I make you sign an agreement that says that you know that this is lower than market value for your home, because I want that to be clear. I want everybody to understand that. The home is a very important thing. So I'd say another thing that I think I've seen iBuyers do is we used to call it something called switch and bait. So
yep. Well, and the commission doesn't really like that.
Well, I don't think, we've talked about it as a bad thing for years and years, and then all of a sudden it just kind of diminished. Switch and bait is when you're expecting an iBuyer to show up at your house to write you out a check right there. And that's not what happens. They'll make you an offer, but then there's hidden fees and there's inspections and there's other things. And believe me, just as when you sign a contract on a new home, the new home builder has got a contract there, and that contract is written in favor of the new home builder.
Absolutely.
And I can assure you, when you sign an iBuyer contract for them to buy your home, that it's got some small print.
Yep, it most certainly does. And a lot of sellers end up at closing tables seeing things for the first time they had never been told about, they'd never read about, had no idea those additional fees were there.
That's exactly right. And then their furniture's on the truck.
Right.
And they're committed to do something else.
Right.
And so they're kind of...
It'd be easier to just go with that than to unpack the truck and undo what they've already done.
That'd be much easier. It's kind of like going over Niagara Falls. Halfway down, you figure out maybe this was a mistake.
Right.
So let's just say, make it really simple. What exactly is the iBuyer's business model? I think I want people to understand what their model is.
Right. Well, I think first and foremost, their goal is to be the buyer of your house. But to secure another opportunity, they give you two options. And that's going to be to come in and give you that guaranteed offer. If you don't accept it, they'll list your home. And they typically are going to overprice the listing. And they, from a lot of buyers who go through a lot of these houses, they pick up trends on all of these houses that are listed by these companies. And some of them will be updated with a couple of things that are the same exact model with every single house. So you can't fool a buyer, or a buyer like us in this. You can't fool a buyer in this market.
No, you can't.
In any market.
Things. But, I think I make it really simple when I say the iBuyer's goal is to buy your house for lower than market value. That's it, blanket. Yeah. And they want to make money when they sell the house. So if they buy your house, you can be assured that they think your house will actually sell for more than they are offering you. But what they're selling is that convenience and that easy button and everything like that. But what's happened recently during the slowdown and the shift is a couple of interesting things. One thing is Zillow, for the first time ever, devalued homes across the board by 10%.
Well, they had to get rid of the inventory that's sitting. If it's sitting, they're losing money.
That is very, very true.
They had to unload it.
And that brings it, that's a great thing to bring up to the next question. The next question is, what does the iBuyer do when the market shifts or slows down?
They're going to really undercut what they're offering.
They're going to undercut. You see, it's a different model because they don't work for the homeowner. They actually work for investors. Their investor, their primary person, their principal is actually their investors at Wall Street, and they have to turn a profit. So when Zillow was caught with a whole bunch of homes that they had bought at a price that was over market, their investors started pulling out like crazy. That's the reason they pulled out of iBuying. I've read many articles lately that says Opendoor is in the same position right now, losing almost $1 billion with a B during the second quarter of this year, in the same position that Zillow was in a year ago.
Right. Right.
So that is an interesting thing. So what they do too, you have to understand that when they see the market shifting, they immediately go to the lowest number that they think that your home could be sold for at a profit. Now, at a profit means, I don't know, that might be 20% below market, might be 30% below market, depending. And then if it doesn't sell, they'll immediately cut it again. So in my point of view, from my experience after 35 years, is they actually helped raise this market up, and they're actually going to also help it go down in value. In other words, they increase the homeowners' prices. That's the reason they were getting crazy prices. That's another thing. But now they're going to decrease the value just as quick because they want to satisfy those investors at Wall Street, not the homeowner.
Well, you remember when COVID came, Opendoor, and I had this happen with the client, they pulled their offer from this seller. And because panic set in, nobody knew what was going to happen with COVID. It was at the very beginning. And to protect their investments that they already had on the table, they stopped buying others for a period of time. I think it's very possible we'll see that again.
That is interesting. I know we're going to see lower offers. I know we're going to see, because I've read some quotes lately from Redfin, who just pulled out of it, that said they didn't want to make offers anymore because they would insult the sellers.
Yeah.
It would be insultingly low.
Right.
So I know they're going to be low.
Well, and I had an offer on another listing recently, and it was from an investor, and they came in $125,000 less than list price. That is the lowest one I've seen come in. Maybe ever.
I mean, they're figuring out ways right now, and I've read enough to know about this, to have alternate ways to earn money from your house, from your equity, by the way. So that gets me into what I think is a really interesting question. That's, who does the iBuyer represent?
Themselves.
Of course.
They're not in it for you. They are in it to make money as an investor.
But it's just like that on-site agent, who, by the way, most real estate agents are very likable, by the way, and they're very hospitable, and they're just people.
Thank you, Marty.
They're just people. And when you go to an on-site, they can be very knowledgeable of that product there, so they're very helpful. But they work for the builder, not for the buyer. And when you're dealing with an iBuyer, when I say, who does that iBuyer represent, it is never the homeowner. It is never the homeowner. So that's the reason I've got a problem now, because, we've got all these disclosures we're supposed to sign in real estate. Who do you represent in this deal? Do you represent the buyer? Do you represent the seller? Are you in dual agency? This, that, and the other. And I wonder when that agent comes out from the iBuyer, what they're signing there.
Right. It almost seems like a conflict of interest to say, I'll represent you as a seller, or I'll represent the buyer for you for them to buy your house.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of dicey. That's all I can say. But here's the thing: we've gotten so fast since COVID. COVID has changed so much, and the inventory has changed so much. We just expect things so fast. When the market is shifting now, I think iBuyers are still going to be in the game because homeowners are, waiting for that third day offer or that first day offer. So a more normal cycle to sell your home. 35 years experience year, 20 years worth of experience year. In my experience, most of this time, if you wanted to sell your home, you're looking at maybe 3 to 6 months, depending on the area and the location.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
It doesn't mean it's a doom and gloom, the sky's not falling. That's a normal market.
Yeah. And iBuyers also, they're going to be really after the people that just don't have the patience to wait because they don't wait. iBuyers don't wait for the market to rebound. They cut the prices on those homes that they purchased. And when they cut those prices, that affects your home price as well. So I just need you to know that. So I'd go for what's the future of iBuyers? I think convenience buyers, or there's always going to be somebody that wants that fast, easy button. I call it have the need for speed.
Right.
I sold my house recently. I was so anxious. I hadn't sold a house in about 10 years. And, just to get it ready for, with my messy husband, to get it ready for showings was so stressful. Yeah. So I do know, the stress it can cause. How about you? When's the last time you sold a house?
It's been about 5 years, but it's not fun.
No, it's
there's
not
so much you have to do to get it ready. And, we have to make it from a house we live in to a house that's going to be shown.
Yeah. If you want
difference.
If you want top dollar, that
yes.
is. And we're pretty good at that. But so I still think iBuyers are going to be in our future. The fear of the economy with the fuel that purchases are going forward, they're going to fear giving you too much because they're already in the books to their investors of losing millions and billion within the last quarter. So what does this mean for you, the homeowner that wants to sell? And I just want to reiterate that too many homeowners are losing way too much money. They lost way too much money when the market went up. They lost, in my business alone, we were able to get the sellers that listed their homes with us $7 million over list price. So what's going to happen when the market flattens or when the market goes down? It's going to be the same thing. They're going to accentuate the downturn as much as they accentuated the rise in real estate value. So I think that's really, really important.
Yeah. One thing my dad has always told me, Marty, is one thing that will definitely take you down is fear.
Ooh.
And I would add to this scenario panic.
Yeah.
So if a seller and the general public thinks that we're sinking down, panic sets in. And it's very tempting to press that easy button.
Very tempting.
But as experienced agents, we're telling you, look at all your options before you do that.
Right, and at least look at all the investors, not just the loud ones that are on TV and radio and billboards every 15 seconds. We have a list of over 50 investors in our office that we would go through. If you came to us and said, we want to sell, we want to take you up on that instant offer, we'd show you ours, but we'd show you everybody else's as well, because we're in business to help that homeowner retain their equity. More people have become rich out of real estate than any other single thing in the United States of America. And believe me, I believe in home ownership and what it's done for just average families.
Absolutely.
So I want to protect that for our average families out there, because that's who I am.
Yeah, it is generally the single largest investment any homeowner is ever going to have in their lifetime.
It is. And it's a great investment. Real estate is still an absolute great investment. The things I'm reading are saying that we're going to, the market is shifting because of interest rates. Let's just face it, folks. This has been the highest raise of interest rates, consistent raise of interest rates that we've ever had in 40 years, maybe longer than that. I don't know. Right. But so it does make the people that want to buy they have to pay a higher price.
Yeah.
And that's the reason we're doing a lot of 2-1 buy downs
That's
now. So we know how to make that an advantage for you if you're a buyer, because right now you got less competition, so there's a reason to do that. So really the bottom line for this is, even if you're a buyer, and I do want to bring this out, and you're out there looking at homes, let's say you go look at an open door listing or an iBuyer listing. When you do that, folks, you're looking at a house that's overpriced. And how I know that is that a regular listing on MLS will sell for 99%, 98% of list price versus sale price. However, an iBuyer's listing sells for 89% of list price. So I know they overprice them when they put them on the market.
Yep.
So the bottom line is it will always be a market for homeowners who decide to sell their house quick, not caring about the money. They'll always be there. The disastrous performance of the iBuyer model that is now unfolding here in the Triangle and throughout the United States is showing us that a business model that's based on algorithms, which is what these models are based on, is disastrous.
Oh, yeah.
And it's much better to have a human person,
Yes.
not a Matterport.
Right.
There's some things that are doing Matterports out there.
Well, in metrics and analytics cannot measure, and nor can it predict human behavior. And it absolutely can't replace relationships and experience.
Oh, yes. That's so true. So we've got the instant offer. You know, I've just been reminded we've got RaleighInstantOffer.com. That's our that's our instant offer, which we're glad to go over with you. But I want to tell you, when a human looks at your property versus a computer, things will go better for you in the long run. So I really believe that. And I want to tell you that those highly visible, those really slick, and those constant iBuyers help drive prices up when they were going up, but they're going to help them drive those same prices down at a faster rate than ever before. And we're here for the homeowner, for the home buyer that wants to protect their investment in the great American dream, which is called a home.
Yes. If you're smart enough to become a homeowner, be smart enough to protect that investment.
It's true. That's true. Thank you, Devon Broughton.
Thank you, Marti Hampton.
Love to be in with you. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.